It's day 12 of what Donald Trump insists is not a war with Iran, and global attention is locked on one of the most critical shipping routes in the world, the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, in a completely different arena, late-night television took an unexpected turn. What started as a typical monologue quickly shifted when Trump himself became the focal point, dismissing critics and even claiming that comedians like Stephen Colbert lacked talent, suggesting he could pull random people off the street to do a better job. But what unfolded next was anything but ordinary. Viewers tuning in for light entertainment instead witnessed a relentless comedic takedown that escalated far beyond the usual late-night humor. The jokes grew sharper, bolder, and increasingly absurd, turning a routine segment into a viral moment. The audience erupted, social media lit up, and clips began circulating everywhere. But one question stood out: what exactly pushed this monologue over the edge? As Colbert leaned into the ongoing Iran situation, highlighting the confusion around its purpose, whether it was about regime change, nuclear threats, or something else entirely, he built a narrative that blended satire with critique. The humor wasn't just about punchlines, it reflected a deeper frustration with political messaging and public reactions, setting the stage for a monologue that would soon dominate online conversation. Before diving deeper, the moment carried an unusual energy that quickly caught viewers' attention. What seemed like a standard late-night segment transformed into something far more significant as Stephen Colbert, known for blending satire with political commentary, delivered a monologue that rapidly became one of the most talked-about critiques of Donald Trump in recent memory. He pointed out how, despite earlier claims, Trump was now suggesting the conflict was essentially over, even telling a CBS reporter that the situation felt very complete. What began as a routine comedic breakdown slowly evolved into a relentless and carefully paced performance that kept audiences engaged throughout. The structure felt familiar at first, like any typical late-night opening, but the tone gradually sharpened. Colbert moved beyond surface-level jokes, weaving together multiple headlines and public statements into a cohesive narrative that felt more like a crafted critique than casual humor. As the audience responded with growing laughter, his theatrical delivery, expressions, timing, and emphasis added another layer, turning the segment into something closer to comedic storytelling than a simple monologue. This shift made the performance stand out, as it tapped into the long-standing connection between late-night television and Trump, a figure who has consistently fueled satire across media platforms. Yet, even within that landscape, this particular moment resonated differently, capturing attention not just for its humor but for the way it reflected the broader cultural and political climate. As the monologue continued, Colbert shifted from light humor into sharper, more pointed satire, using Trump's public persona as the foundation for a broader comedic critique. Rather than focusing on a single issue, he connected multiple headlines and past statements, building a layered narrative that examined how Trump's style has influenced political discourse. At times, the audience seemed to pause for a split second, processing the cleverness of a joke, before breaking into louder laughter, giving the performance a dynamic rhythm that kept viewers fully engaged. What made this segment stand out was Colbert's willingness to push beyond predictable punchlines, incorporating irony and exaggeration to add depth to the humor. He framed serious topics, like tensions in the Strait of Hormuz and their potential global impact, in a way that highlighted both their significance and the surreal nature of how they were being discussed publicly. This approach turned familiar news into something that felt fresh and thought-provoking. Drawing from his background in political satire, Colbert blended theatrical delivery with commentary, presenting the situation not just as politics, but as part of a larger cultural spectacle where media attention and performance often go hand in hand. The jokes evolved into commentary on how modern politics can resemble entertainment, with Trump positioned as a central figure in an ongoing, unpredictable narrative. This comparison resonated with the audience, as it reflected a shared perception that political coverage has increasingly taken on the tone of a reality show. By this stage, the monologue had grown into more than just comedy. It became an exploration of the relationship between politics, media, and public perception, all while maintaining a steady stream of laughter that kept the audience fully invested. As the monologue moved toward its conclusion, the audience was fully engaged, responding with continuous laughter as Colbert delivered some of his most memorable lines of the night. Rather than ending with a single dramatic punchline, he tied together the themes he had built throughout, reflecting on how politics, media, and entertainment have increasingly blurred into one another. The closing moments felt less like a simple joke and more like a commentary on the spectacle of modern public life, which the audience acknowledged with enthusiastic applause. After the broadcast, the impact extended far beyond the studio, as clips quickly spread across social media, sparking widespread discussion and debate. Some viewers praised the performance as one of Colbert's sharpest in years, while others focused on the broader role of satire in shaping political conversations. The segment's pacing and structure made it especially shareable, with each joke connecting seamlessly to the next, allowing both the full monologue and individual clips to resonate online. As reactions continued, many pointed out how the performance fit into the long tradition of political satire, where comedians use humor to challenge authority and highlight contradictions. By the next day, the monologue had been replayed and analyzed across platforms, with audiences revisiting it to understand why it carried such a strong impact. Ultimately, its success came from more than just humor. It captured a cultural moment, turning complex political narratives into an engaging story that people wanted to watch, discuss, and share.